Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Hello, Mike, Vinyl Spiral. What is written under your name? Cool Grandpa.
Cool,
Oh,
Grandpa. Yeah, that's what I am now. Yeah.
okay. I knew about that, but I didn't know if it's like official, like to be
Yes,
told to the.
it's an official title now. Yeah.
Okay, how are you enjoying this new role or function or whatever? I don't know how to say.
Absolutely, absolutely. As you know, I was down in London a few days ago visiting my daughter and our new grandson for the
Cool.
second time. He's now he's 7 weeks old now. He was 6 weeks old when we last saw him, and he's fantastic. I really love it. I really like the experience.
It is the first time I know, but just that you
It is,
are.
yeah.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's our first grandchild, so
nice.
yeah, we're really happy about that.
So cool. So congrats to the whole family. Hope everything will be
Yeah. Everybody,
and
everybody's really really excited about the whole thing. You know, it's the first time we've had an addition to the family
yeah.
for well about 30 years. So
Yeah, that's it is a milestone, and it
yeah,
changed for the parents, I guess, for first
yeah.
first of first of all, of course, but even for the grandparents, and you will maybe be connected with him when he will be discovering music. Maybe in few years from now, he'll be a future punk head. Maybe.
That's right. That's right. You know what? I wasn't allowed to take him into Honest John's record store in Cold Drops Yard at King's Cross. I wanted to, but I was told not to. And my feeling is that you're never too young to be introduced to a record store.
I agree. I
Yeah.
couldn't. I couldn't agree that. Yeah.
But my daughter didn't agree with that sentiment, so I went in on my own.
And speaking of that, did you try? I guess yes. The answer is yes. But you had with your daughter, did
Yeah.
you, I guess you tried when she was kid to give her the passion and the love for music. Uh,
My daughter's not particularly into music. You know, not in not in a sort of a record collecting sort of way. Um, my son is though. My son, I
mhm.
mean, I've been to plenty of gigs with James because he lives up here in Leeds as I
Okay.
do, and so
Yeah.
we've been to lots and lots of gigs together.
Okay. Yeah.
So we tend to have, by and large, very similar musical tastes. Although he draws a line at some of the prog stuff, particularly Van de Graaff Generator. He just doesn't understand what I see in them. But there
Yeah.
you go.
It,
I can appreciate that. 70s prog isn't exactly the coolest music, is it? So there you go. But I love it.
and now it's an interesting topic because it was one of my biggest rabbit holes
Oh yes,
not
I
long that
know.
time ago.
Mm,
And I can understand because I didn't grow up in the country in the era where Prague was massive important back then. So I can fully understand when having a chat with people with French VC friends my age, they don't know about Prague. They know a
yeah.
little bit about Pink Floyd, and I don't consider that as a Prague
Yeah.
music. And I can understand. So, but it's yeah,
Yes, they're sort of being aware of a genre, I think, and actually knowing it.
yeah,
And I think with something like punk, um, when I talk to people and they say they love punk, and then they kind of draw the line at the Clash, the Sex Pistols, and the Ramones, and I'm thinking, well, what about all the rest of it?
yeah,
All the really good stuff. So there's that, isn't there? When you go down the rabbit hole, you sort of you discover all sorts of other stuff, other bands that don't get the media attention.
Yeah, it's interesting you're saying that because I just come from two very important VC related event.
Yeah.
Means the VC meetup, FGK's Boston,
Oh
and
yes, yes, the official T-shirt.
yeah, we got the official T-shirt. Thanks, Steve, for designing and supplying. And the week before, I went to where David Atkinson came a little bit earlier to meet us at Toronto. So the weekend before, we went with him with the other VC friends in Toronto. So
Yeah,
and he gave me a lot of folk stuff. And I was thinking about the very first records I had in my collection that was in kind of could fall into this kind of umbrella was the Donovan Hurdy Gurdy Man and Legion Lee from Fairport Convention. It was the very start of, and I didn't know that I was gonna, dive a little very deep into this stuff. So it's interesting to think about. Okay, how did it start? How did it start? What was the trigger point? What was and Donovan? It's the connection was the Beatles, was the psychedelic late 60s stuff. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean that's it. But
so Ben.
yeah, hiya. I was thinking about this. There's a sort of generational thing with vinyl records because, of course, when I was growing up, vinyl records were the way that you bought music. It was
Yeah,
the standard way.
yeah,
You know, Obviously CDs were still many years away from being invented, and then cassette tapes came along, and I always found cassettes a little bit annoying, really, because it was so easy for the machine to chew up the tape,
yeah.
and then of course it's the rewinding, isn't it? And actually trying to find a track on a cassette tape is not the easiest thing in the world. So I never really got into cassettes, at least not buying pre-recorded cassette tapes, but I had an awful lot of cassette tapes that were broadly uh, recordings of my friends' vinyl records, because that's how we shared music.
Yeah,
You know, somebody somebody would buy a record, and everybody else would have a cassette tape, and they would tape it, and it was a mutual thing. So I had more cassette tapes than I uh, had vinyl records at one point. But there's nothing like actually owning the vinyl record, is there? Because you don't get, obviously, with a what is ostensibly a bootleg of uh, somebody else's record. You don't get the artwork. You don't get all the details. So yeah,
yeah. But in this pre-internet days, you had access to the music, and I
yeah,
was I was
that's right.
massively
Yeah,
into taping. I was buying cassette myself, but I was very. I think from the age of 7 up until 12, I didn't have any CD player at home, so was
mm.
still living with my parents' collections and buying cassettes, taping music, playing taping music that was played on radio. Just waiting to push the button at the right time.
Oh yes,
And yeah, and after came CDs, burning CD myself, and yeah, it's still interesting. Oh,
yes,
we already have some people in the gallery.
yeah,
Uh, Hello, hi,
yeah,
Thorsten
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Germany.
Good album. Yeah,
You can tell it's the holiday. You can tell it's from Germany. He's in Bretagne. He's in Brittany. That's
yeah.
the western part of France. Hope you will find some great local stuff because Bretagne, I can tell. I've never been to Bretagne at all. Never. Well, I've been to Nantes and Guérande, which is the very beginning of the traditional Bretagne. From the administrative standpoint, it's not considered Bretagne, the region,
Right.
but you could feel, the that it's a region with a very rich culture, and just like the place where I come from, and yeah, there is. There is plenty of stuff. I would love to go to Bretagne only for finding folk and other stuff like that. Um, Eclectic Vinyl, another fellow member of the French
Yep.
vinyl community.
Either.
Hi, my good friend Ben, Vinyl Mood. Hi, nice to see you over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good friend. Hey, Darren. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Vivor machine. I know. Yeah, would be probably my next investment. Probably. Yeah. Do you have a cleaning machine, Mike?
I don't. I don't. I've been thinking about it for a while,
Yeah, me too.
and
Yeah,
I'm thinking that maybe I should.
yeah, yeah. The same.
Yeah.
I was that
Yeah.
close to buy a machine, but when I was still living in France. But after I was like, okay, what if I buy now? I have to ship it to Canada, and because of the
Mm,
voltage. So one of the stuff I just push on the list for
yeah.
OGCs. Hi, Greg. Nice to see you here. Yeah, that's a nice, yeah, good idea as well. This portable player where
Right.
lots of people they go find their stuff in the flea market or thrift store. It's
Right.
they like to carry their so they can give a listen. Philo, my good friend Philo.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah. As I said, plenty of VC meetups lately. Was really interesting. You as well. I think you just met up with Nick at the Rec Fair at Leeds, right?
Yes. Yeah. Last week. No, it wasn't last week. It's 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a great time. So it was just me and Nick,
That
and
that
you know
counts to be
we always
that.
end up at the same pub now. So we, you know, 2 or 3 hours at the record fair, and then to the Duck and Drake pub that's just
Mhm.
round the corner from Leeds Market, where the record fair is, and we have a couple of drinks and have a good chat about this and that. And this time, there's one of the guys who's a regular vendor at the record fair, and he specialises in punk, and he has all sorts of rare punk singles and really nice rare sort of albums. But a lot of this stuff is out of my price range. Really, I've been tempted a few times, but maybe I should. Anyway, he came into the pub and saw us sitting there, so we had a chat with him, and this guy has got an absolutely wonderful Mohican, absolutely brilliant, and you don't see that very much nowadays, do you? A
Yeah,
Mohican
yeah,
hairstyle, but he's still got it. So he keeps the faith, and yes, he was telling us about that there's a club over in Bradford which is about 15 miles from here, 10, 15 miles from here, very easy to get to, and it's a dedicated sort of punk club, really, that he is part of, and yeah, so I had a really nice chat with him. But that's one of the things. It's one of the things about collecting vinyl, and being out and about, that everybody's willing to talk to you. You can have some really interesting conversations with strangers. Because you have that collection. The
yeah,
collection is collecting vinyl records. It's like a brotherhood, isn't it? And if you're one of the one of the chosen few, then you're part of that club. Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying that because when we were standing up and in Mike, we were doing this award ceremony kind of stuff, and at the time, I think Brian was the one who said like we are like a cult, and I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, if people were driving, see all we're wearing the same T-shirt and acting like okay, we are doing something, yeah, we
yeah,
I think yeah, it's partly true, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, the vinyl community even has its own language, doesn't it? You know,
yeah, absolutely.
who else? Who else would talk about OGs and know what it means?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea for my good friend Ben, who just made a video on his channel about the vocabulary
Oh,
when
right.
collecting records, and lots of anglicism are used, lots of words that we use like inner sleeve, gatefold,
Yeah,
totally like for us, for you. I'm not I'm not native speaker,
yeah,
makes totally sense, but are also used in Germany and in France. So that could be maybe a good idea for you, Ben. The episode 2, the vocabulary of the VC, yeah,
yeah,
VCLT.
yeah.
What else do we
Absolutely.
have? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you're right. You can be total lost in translation if you're not part of this word. Yeah,
Yes, yes. It's also nice to meet up with fellow record collectors because I think non-record collectors find it quite difficult to understand our obsession.
yeah,
So it's quite difficult um, to build a conversation around vinyl records if one of the parties to the conversation doesn't actually collect vinyl records.
yeah. You're right. I try sometimes to talk about my passion in with the people I work with, but it's doesn't work really. Even though people are still into music, we're in their own way. Like they still go to concert, they have Spotify, but I totally feel okay now. It's too much for them, so I don't
Yeah,
even bother me giving details, trying to explain because
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
niche. It's a niche. It's totally we are a niche market. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right.
Second video will be okay. More techniques. Okay, now we are teasing Mr. Ben. I'm uh, I'm wondering
Yeah,
what it is. Yeah.
right. I think yes, yes. I did notice a little body in the background.
Yeah. 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 No worries.
Yeah.
So yeah, amongst this stuff, I recently found at the fair. Oh yeah, I need to talk about that for a sec. I really need to talk because I'm so glad I could find this one. Okay, how come it's so big? Yeah, that's
Oh,
really
yeah.
yeah, that's really I'm really glad to have found this. So they were really like popular in Poland, I think, in the 90s, but this is their and they got probably more mainstream because they play on national TV and stuff. But this is their debut album. This is Manam, and this is not a post punk. This is really punk. This is the energy of punk singer somewhere between Nina Hagen and probably Siouxsie in the Benches, but more Nina Hagen, the energy. And yeah, it's really like punk rock really at its best. 1980 Polish band, some metallic guitar, and the guy knows how to play. Really, it's not DIY punk. It's really like you can tell he was listening to. He was probably into um, into Jimi Hendrix, and they asked, okay, you simplify the scale a little bit, but you can tell he knows how to play. So, and I'm really glad I found this one copy was sold over here in Canada. So That's that's
Yeah,
Manam.
yes, they're quite an interesting band. But when you mentioned them to me some weeks ago, I
Yeah,
went online to sort of find find some music by them, and the first things I came across were obviously from much later on in their career, and they're quite mainstream, and definitely sort of I think radio friendly, television friendly, and I thought, is this really? Is this the right? Is this the right band? Is this the right singer? And then I listened to that which is a debut album, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I listened to that and I thought, yeah, this is pretty good stuff. Yeah.
yeah. They came from Poland, just to answer this.
Yeah.
Manam, yeah, Poland. It's a Polish band, and I have Polish roots myself. Still have friends. They live and remote family. And I was asking them, "Do you know Madam?" They say, "Of course we know Madam. Of course, it's very like." And they are not. And those people are my friends. Are not into that music, but they knew. It's like they were that popular in Poland.
Right.
But yeah. Oh,
Oh,
good morning.
could this be?
Welcome to the show.
It's the bozo from down under. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello. You definitely look like you just got up, Fred.
These are my best clothes. What are you talking about? Yeah. Well, that's what happens when my friends from Canada start live streams at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, thanks. That's
Yeah.
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 No. I mean, 8:30 in the evening is absolutely fine, Fred.
yeah. I know. But it's Sunday. It's Sunday too, and it's not my normal waking up time on Sunday.
No.
As you can imagine, nobody wakes up at 5:30 on Sunday, just for the joy of it.
No.
But it's my normal waking up time during the week, so it's not too bad. It's not. It's when I normally get up. It's about 5:30, 5:45. So I'm okay with that, and I'm alone today. My partner's gone on a weekend away, so she's left me the house to myself. So I'm not disturbing anyone, which is good.
Excellent.
I can talk at whatever volume I want here. And it's nice to see you both.
Yeah, I appreciate the
Yes,
effort.
it's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought I'd definitely be here with you both to.
You're too late. We already showed the best record, so you.
I know I was following on my phone.
I know.
But yeah, you were talking about Manam just before.
Yeah.
Which we talked about. I've got one. I've got a compilation album by Manam, and what you were saying about people knowing my sister-in-law is Polish. She knew straight away as well. She said, "Oh yeah, Manam," but they started, I think, a bit punk, but then they became kind of like a pop act, I guess. They just
Yeah.
I've got this album which has got most of the tracks of the album that you've shown, and it's not totally my thing. I like some of the tracks, but I don't know how. I wonder it is as an album as you've got there, because mine is just kind of spread over a double CD, so it's not. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello. Just people in the gallery.
That's true. What Baines is saying. We have people from Germany who are in vacation in Bretagne. We have people from France. We have people from the US.
Yeah.
From Canada. Pretty
Yeah,
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
very very international. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So
And yeah, and but yeah, Manam, yeah, cool. No, it's cool. We can talk about records, albums, whatever you want to call them. You know,
The
it's
one
music. It's music after all. I don't think I don't really personally. I don't see that there's a huge difference between an album on vinyl and an album on CD. It's music. I mean, I think the more I think about it, the more I think there's no need for the snobbery. I guess I don't think that it should go into place. If you really love it, doesn't matter what you're listening to it on. I mean, even if you stream the music, who cares? It's you're still listening to it. So,
yeah, yeah. I
um,
mean, I agree with that to a certain extent. And there's some music that I would listen to on CD anyway.
yeah, me too.
And it's convenient. It's much more convenient to do, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got
I've got as many. I've got a wall like this of CD in the other room.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was that period when vinyl was officially dead, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
everybody bought CDs. Many releases didn't actually turn up on vinyl anymore, and that was it. But I'm not one for buying a vinyl record that I have the CD of, although I have done it. I have done it occasionally.
yeah. I have to. I must admit, and it annoys me as well to think that I've got doubles of things that
Mm,
I'm in this mindset at the moment that I need to purge some things that I'm out of space and the more I look at my collection, the more I think there's so many things I don't really need here, and like it's kind of this. I'm in one of these moods where I feel that I need to actually just get rid of things, and I'm just assessing at the moment all the things that I've got on CD and on vinyl, whether I really need to have both of them, and whether I could make some money selling, because the CDs won't make me any money, but just if I could part with the vinyl versions of certain albums that I have on CD, because I'm perfectly happy to listen to them on CD. So it's a funny thing, but I do have doubles of albums that I really love. I've got doubles, and I suppose it's the same for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something that I try not to do, and I certainly don't have doubles of vinyl records. I don't have two vinyl records of the same, the same album. But I do have CDs and vinyl. But yeah, I mean, like you, I'm starting to run out of space, and I was thinking, well, I maybe need to purge my collection as well, and because I can't imagine that I'm going to actually stop buying vinyl records anytime soon. So I need, I need to do something. And I was thinking, well, I need to purge some of my collection. But just the other day, I sort of discovered a nice place in our spare bedroom where I can book vinyl. So I will move the stuff. I will move the stuff that I don't listen to every day. I know it's a terrible thing, isn't it? It's not.
It's finding another spot where you can just hide it. You're not. I reckon that if you can purge some stuff, which you don't love entirely, you'll make some. You also make some money to fund some other records that you want to. And it's senseless to keep things that. And I've purged over time. I've collected records, really seriously for, I think, maybe 25 years now. I mean, I think you know, probably before that, I bought more CDs than I bought vinyl. And then there was a turning point in the very early 2000s when I started buying vinyl again.
Yeah.
And but over time, I've sold thousands of records. I reckon, like easily. Like I've had records, and sometimes I look at you know, it happens that sometimes I look at lists of records online, and I used to have this, I used to have this, I used to have this, I used to have this. There's so many that I used to own, and
Right.
I don't have anymore, and I don't regret. I actually don't regret anything that I've sold, because I think uh, when I've parted with records, it's because I didn't really love them entirely, and also because I've evolved to something else at that point in time. And I think it's really important to, because there's records that evoke nostalgia as well, which you'll keep because for very visceral reasons, which is, you have a very deep connection with them. um, I don't really listen to, for example, I think back of my youth, and I think of the band that I first listened to was U2 when I was a teenager. I won't listen to U2 very often, maybe once a year or something, but I'll still keep the record just because there's a deep connection that I can still
Yeah.
foster once in a while. But there's other records you think, oh, I only like one or two songs on there. I don't need to keep a whole record filling the space of this just because I like one song on this. It's, if I want to listen to that song, I can listen to that song. And and so at the moment you can see there's some spots there that are, here notably,
Yeah.
where I've removed things, and because I'm starting to and I've got a good stack of you can make me small again. I don't like being big when I don't have anything to talk about, anything to show. But there's a shop that I sell well, for a while I sold on Discogs. I sold a lot of records on Discogs, but now I can't do it anymore because my working hours are stupid. I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning, and I never come back before 6 o'clock at night, and I can't post anything unless at the weekend. So selling on Discogs is just too hard. I couldn't manage it. So I sell them to one of my shops, one of the local shops, and they give me a good rate for it, and it's a pretty good deal. Last time I sold a pile of records, they gave me nearly $1,000, which is pretty good,
Yeah.
Sorry, I just went on a tangent. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Glad you could make it. So I'm just catching up with comments.
Yeah.
Philo, my list. Yeah, Philo is an artist. So
All right.
I lately talk about this, not this latest, the one he made before Last Orgasm Before Death, prog record. And he just mentioned that his very last album he recorded was too expensive to be pressed on vinyl, so to say.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, he's on the other side of the fence, where he needs his music to be available for us. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be honest, CDs are, I think they're very good. I think people will call me a heretic for saying this, and probably hang me on the public square for saying things like that, because some people are real vinyl fanatics, and they just put that format above all other things. But I do think that, for me, if a CD is well made and you get just as much. Anyway, sonically, it is fantastic because, well, I mean, you look at music like ambient music or classical music, for example, which really doesn't go well with pops and clicks. Often also pieces that are long, that you should be heard in one piece. That,
Yeah.
you know, you can't,
and
like, you split. You know, these are things where these are domains of music where the CD is vastly superior anyway, because you get an uninterrupted. And I've got like some of these Brian Eno ambient records, like music for airports, or those kinds of records. I have I have them on vinyl, but I never play them because I've got the CDs. My vinyl copy of Music for Airports has just got too many little ticks and pops, and that it just kills the music because it's so quiet. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to listen to the album, I would always put the CD on. And it's one of these records that I might sell in the end, because I'm thinking to myself, well, there's no point having that, because just say that I have it on. And this is the thing. Sometimes it's just the brag element. Oh, look at this! I've got this on vinyl.
And there is also
Yes.
the way of life. Simply, you were mentioning you get up early in the morning, you get back home late. How about a truck driver? I have some very friends here. They are truck drivers. Sometimes they work here in Canada. They drive up down south to the US for 3 weeks. They're totally into music. I would never blame them for having CD with them, listening to music online, because this how could they only are at home 4 days or 2 days and then back on the road. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And
yeah,
back in the 90s, I was working quite a long way from home, and I had a 45 to 1 hour journey each way to get to work and back again.
Mm.
And I just had CDs in the car, and it was it's a great way of relieving the monotony of heading to work and heading home every day, and maybe being in a traffic jam, that you had the music there and I could really catch up with stuff. But obviously, it had to be CDs.
and
And
and what and it, yeah,
and that's what I did. I didn't really miss vinyl at all.
I mean,
And that's the thing. I've always had it there. The stuff that I bought when I was young, and the stuff I bought before CDs became the thing. I didn't get rid of any of those, and I still played them from time to time. But CDs became the way I was buying new music, and at the time I thought, I don't really miss.
yeah, we
vinyl
we
at
we
all.
we all, we all did. But by
Yeah,
the early 2000, it was all about CDs, as you
yeah,
said, in the cars. And
yeah.
yeah, you're right. And we had all this. How do you say it in English? Um,
Uh, I I've got see above me. I left a gap there. I've got all these CDs that I've got at the moment that I'm listening to, but like this is a double look. I don't know. I'm sure you all know McCraven is a drummer from. He's big on the Chicago scene. This is not on the International Anthem label. It's on XL, but he's normally on the internet. I've seen him live. This is a double live album. It's I think it's 4 different EPs actually. Thinking about it.
All right.
This on vinyl, I would probably never really play because there's so much flipping and turning, and I just pulled out like a few nice albums that I've got there, like the new Sea Feel, for example. That would have cost me $20, and on vinyl that would be probably 60. And it's electronic music. Why do I need this to be on vinyl? It's not going to sound any better. It's not going to give me any more of an experience. This is a perfectly good example where the music on CD probably trumps the music on vinyl on this one. Here, another example, which there is no need. This is a box set. That's. Do you guys know this? Are you familiar with William Basinski?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Integration loops. Do you know
yeah,
what this is?
yeah.
This
He
is
plays
one of
the.
the most classic pieces of drone ambience ever made. These are basically tapes that were just worn over and over and over, so they have this kind of disintegrating kind of atmosphere. And they were released around 9/11, and it's a very kind of like, it sort of functioned as a soundtrack for the apocalypse, if you like. This was released on a re-released this year on a sort of a vinyl box set. It's 8 records. You can be guaranteed that if I had this on record, I would never ever play it. Never. Because it's too much of an endeavor to open a box set and put 8 records. Like, this is a 4 CD thing. I've already barely played this on 4 CDs, so I can't imagine playing this on record. Like, that would never happen. Here is the new Jeff Barker, which I went for on CD rather than on vinyl, because again, $25 versus $65. What's the difference? Well, not very much, actually. Once you put it in the machine and it comes out of the speakers, I don't get this thing of, oh, there's more emotion with like, I don't understand this. It's a construct. So in people's minds, there's more. You can feel more when it's on vinyl. It's not true. It's just music, and it's what you make of it. This is my personal view of it, and if people want to disagree, well, they're allowed to. But I don't know that you would get any more of an experience listening to Jeff Barker on vinyl that you would on CD. And if you were blindfolded, would you be able to tell? Absolutely not, I reckon. This is a wonderful, fantastic ambient album, Body Sound, by Whitney Johnson, Leah Cole, and Macy, especially Macy Stewart. This is an international anthem. It's called Body Sound. There you go. And that, again, I could buy this on, but it's an ambient album. What am I going to do with this on? You understand what I'm saying? So these is a Michelle Endigicello. Do you know her? Do you know who she is? That's actually on Blue Note. There you go. She's
that's someone I don't know.
She is she's a black musician who makes a sort of a bridge between soul, funk, and jazz.
Right.
Obviously, very political, very, very heavily political. Kind of like a modern Nina Simone, but kind of a bit more, in a more sort of jazz funk way, I guess, if you will. Fantastic, Michelle. Eclectic Vinyl is saying the same thing. So these are records which would cost me so much more money to buy them, and I've got plenty of them there. Another example that comes to mind is the next Australia's premier jazz band. They're kind of a jazz trio. They've made post-rock records, they've made ambient records, they've made jazz records. The trademark of the next is to make music that they jam for about 60 minutes at a time. And so every time they make an album, the album has to be, if it's on vinyl, it's got to be split into 2 halves, because they can't. And so on here, it's a triple album, and each track is, you can see the timings there. Yeah, it's 26 minutes, but hang on, let me have a look. This track here is, look, there you go. 57 minutes. This is a track. See, so there's an argument for having this on CD, because, and they didn't even put this on vinyl because they knew that you really can't. So this, what I'm trying to say is, demonizing CDs is no good. You get a very lovely package, and it still works perfectly as a. This is wonderful too. The Cosmic Tones Research Trio, kind of like Sun Ra inspired, cosmic jazz album, from last year, I think, or the year before. So
all this stuff. I mean, Fred, I think I think some months ago you mentioned Nex, and I went and listened,
Yeah,
and I think they're really good. And you're right, it has to be on CD, doesn't it? Because I mean, even a 57-minute track, you'd
yeah,
be hard pushed to put it on two sides of a vinyl record, wouldn't you?
yeah,
And it breaks the mood, doesn't it? You know, if after 25 minutes you have to get up and turn the record over, it breaks the mood completely. You know, you just want the thing to wash over you. You want to get lost in it, don't you? And you can't really do that so much with vinyl. And I think that's where CDs really do win out sometimes. That you can have a good sort of hour or so of music on one CD, and just you put it in the player, and you can just forget that it's there playing, and you can get lost in the music, and that's fantastic. But having said that, I do also love sort of the shorter formats. I love 7-inch singles, and
yeah,
that's something. And I think for me, that's more of a sort of a nostalgic thing for me, because in around about 1976, 1977, punk exploded onto the scene. And although I was very sort of heavily invested in prog rock, I loved Led Zeppelin. There's all these bands, but I always felt that it was not the music of my generation. It was a music that belonged to your elder brothers, and it wasn't our music. And then punk came on the scene, and I was just the right age. And of course, the single, suddenly I think in the UK, I think 1977, 1978 was a real peak in 7-inch single sales, and the vast majority of the records that I bought at that time were singles rather than albums, because punk lends itself to the single format. So it's what you'd say. It's horses for courses, isn't it? You choose the right format for the music that you were listening to.
yeah.
So what I'm really saying is I agree with you, Fred.
Yeah. Well, there's a comment there on the side that from Warp Dog Record Hound there, which I don't even understand what that means. Like, and I'm of relative intelligence, I feel, but I'm like, what do you mean dynamics help evoke emotional response? Emotional response is down, in my opinion, to your attachment to what you're hearing in the music. Whether the melody is composed well enough, whether the strings are whatever it is, I don't think I don't think it's how it's mastered or how I don't think it's got anything to do with it. Well, it probably has a little bit to do with it, but don't we remember listening to music on shitty old like radios or whatever, and
Yeah.
still getting something out of it? It's a car radio.
Yeah.
What dynamics what dynamics are in at play with that, like, apart from the fact that you can turn it up really really loud. I don't know that any of this is driven by anything other than our own perception of how the music impacts us. I don't think the mastering by or whatever. I love the comment by Alex Diamond Marimba there, who says, I only like music when it's mastered by Kevin Gray. Obviously it's a joke, but this is the disease of our times. It's like saying, like, some engineers are more well known than the musicians themselves. We feel like oh, this is this jazz album. It's been remastered by Kevin Gray. Doesn't matter that the jazz record alone would actually sound great regardless, but it has to, it's got a stamp of approval. Kevin Gray did this. I think,
Yeah.
what does it even mean? Like, people, come on, wake up to your senses. The audiophile mafia has really struck hard on the VC. I just really feel that it's an issue that every time I see anything that's vaguely audiophile, even like a video, like, to me, it's a big no-no. I refuse to give into that sort of content. It's ridiculous. But anyway, tell me.
I think if your car has 16 speakers and a subwoofer, I think you're getting halfway to be the public nuisance, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Yeah. Wow. But the thing is, I would say, you're talking about sort of emotional responses from music, from sound, that it can happen, but I'm not sure that it really happens with vinyl records or with CDs or whatever, because your speakers have a certain sort of dynamic range, don't they? But it's I was thinking of that feeling that you would get if you were in a church and there's the organ is playing and these ultra low frequencies that can sort of elicit a sort of response in you. I mean, it's normally fear, isn't it, or a sense of unease. And so, music, sounds can do that, but I'm not sure that you can really get that from, most hi-fi systems, really. Or maybe you can. Maybe I'm just not very good at listening. But
Well, the other part of the equation is that when you see all these people with like top range systems, who maybe are may or may not be older folk whose hearing is not quite as defined as it could be. You think, how are we judging this? What's the measure of judging this? Where does it come into force? Because I know myself, like, being nearly 50 years old, my hearing is not what it used to be. I get ringing in my ear. I get tinnitus all the time. I get, not high frequency tinnitus, but I get this like slight ring in my ear all the time, which is always present. This kind of, and I'm wondering, what is it that I'm hearing? Like, how can it be that? So I've got a decent system. I don't have the most advanced of systems. I've got something that works for me. I've got big speakers and I've got a nice stylus or cartridge. But I don't feel that if I were to spend another $10,000 on it or 20, I don't think it would improve it by so much as 2% for me. And I think to myself, I do think that the audiophile conspiracy is a little bit of a fallacy for a lot of people. I really do think it, because I've seen really good systems versus what I've got here, and I don't know that I can tell that there's much of a difference, if any at all. And maybe some of it might be kind of like a placebo effect, where you just think, it's more expensive, therefore it must be better. I don't know. I mean, this is probably contentious.
But that's exactly the thing, isn't it? That you listen to music through sort of a series of interfaces, really. The music comes out of the speaker, and then the final interface is your ears.
Yeah.
And my hearing isn't great. I mean, I wear a hearing aid.
Yeah.
And I've got tinnitus. So, probably for me, the way to sort of enhance my listening experience is somehow get some, absolutely brilliant state of the art hearing aids. I don't know. And would that do the trick?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Warp Dog Record. I may have been misreading you, and I apologize for that. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, what I was trying to get at was more this kind of fantasy world that is created by record companies, where you're told that this record will be, so much better because it has been mastered by like that's what I was saying. But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's look, this is a topic that is going to ruffle feathers, because people people are they're very militant about this stuff. They really think that, you know their perception of how the music
I can I
comes
can
out
I can know
comes comes out on, from the
Yeah.
stereo is true.
I
And
can
that's
I can know where they come from, and what is the purpose, because this is where they spend time and money. If you spend your time and your money buying a system, or buying a very fucking expensive bottle of wine, or 30 years collecting on a single artist, you don't want to hear what you do is nonsense.
I'm not saying I'm not saying
Of course.
I'm not saying it's nonsense. I'm just saying, in my very humble view, I don't think it makes a difference. I think I don't know that when I play a CD or I play a record, I get more or less emotional response. I think it's bullshit. I
Well,
think it's a I think it's a trick of the mind.
let's put it in the other way. If some guy buys a bottle of champagne that it costs €1,000, and you bring on the table same quality, €50, what do you create?
But you create a situation where and you know this as well as I do, that there's a lot of things in life that are overpriced, or because of certain labels that you stick on things. You can charge a certain price tag. It doesn't mean that it's a real price. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it applies in so many walks of life. That, just because a bag has got a Chanel logo on it, it will cost you $5,000.
Yeah.
This is the thing, that it's, like, you also have to remember that, it is also this is also part of mass consumerism, and that we're in a sort of construct of, capital, which means that, people who have the buying power will, will get, quote unquote, the best stuff. Is it true still? Is stuff made as well as it used to be made, like 50 years ago, for example? No, it's not, and we know this.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's this whole dynamic, which is driven by economic purpose, which, you know you have to be careful of. I'm not saying that somebody with an audiophile system, has, the wrong experience. I'm just saying that there's not a lot of difference between, say, a $10,000 system next to me and the 20,000. There's not, your 2% maybe, and that's provable. That actually is measurable. You're talking about maybe 1 or 2% increase. Yeah, and when you've got 50 years old ears, but then there's probably maybe 0.5% improvement, and that is measurable.
Which is
So,
usually the age that you reach when you are able to afford such a system.
Yes, yeah. Just when your hearing started to fail. I mean, it's life's a bitch, isn't it? But the thing is that there's a whole thing. I mean, I suppose you would call it, marginal utility, wouldn't you? That you buy something, and you get an upgrade, and maybe the first time you get an upgrade, you've got a real discernible sort of difference, an increase in quality. But as you go higher and higher, that utility, the margin gets smaller and smaller until it becomes sort of infinitesimal, really, and sort of, you're unable to discern it. And I will always find that when people, certain sort of parts of the vinyl community are very into buying, not too fine a point on it, buying the same record over and over again, and it's the audiophile quality. And in order to do that, you have to convince yourself that what you're buying is an upgrade on what you have already, because otherwise, why would you do it?
Yeah.
And I find this very difficult to understand, not least because it actually has an effect on another of sort of vinyl collectors' issues, which we talked about already, and that's the issue of space. So, if you're buying the same record, and you've got a cube behind you, and you say, yeah, this is my Sergeant Pepper's cube, and there's 100 records in there, and they're all different presses of Sergeant Pepper's or whatever.
I'm sorry to say, but sorry to interrupt you, but that's mental. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to keep it polite, Fred. But yes, I just can't understand this. And you were talking about, mastering of records, and yeah, there's this new remastered version, and in the prog world, it's mastered by Stephen Wilson.
Yeah,
and so if it's mastered by Stephen Wilson, it must be brilliant.
Yeah,
and I must say, I find it difficult to discern the difference quite often, between an original and a Stephen Wilson remaster or whoever. So yeah, it's a very strange way of collecting records, I believe, and also the worst thing about it is that it mitigates against new music, because if you're buying what you're familiar with, what you've been familiar with for maybe 40, maybe 50 years or more, in my case, if I'm still buying that, then I'm not looking elsewhere for something that's new. And
yeah, I think that's you're right. And I think it's a big fault of this whole industry is that it pushes just the past into people's faces rather than focusing on what's coming, and so very few people actually, like, if you look at the VC at large, how many people show new interesting releases? Very few people, because everyone's obsessed with getting all these classics, quote unquote, and they're always rebuying the same fucking records too. This is the thing, like, people buy the same fucking records all the time. You said it before with a Sgt. Pepper's example, but Rumors, remastered this, and you think, you people just you're victims of this. This is a giant fucking con job. If you bought a copy of Rumors that was released around 1977, you already have the best sounding copy of it. That's it. Like, stop. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. But that's exactly it, isn't it? And I've lost my thread now. But yeah, I mean, music is music, and you can only really experience, an album, or a track. You can only really experience it sort of once. Sort of originally, but you can experience it again and again on, different pieces of vinyl, and a real real problem is that if a record that was a big seller was released 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or any number of years ending
Yeah.
in zero, then you get the reissue, and there's plenty of sort of 50th anniversary, 40th anniversary reissues of albums, and so you can then buy a box set of Dark Side of the Moon, for instance, with umpteen pieces of vinyl in it, and you think,
Which
how can you
which
possibly
which
stretch
which
a single album?
which you'll probably never play. Let's face it. Like,
Yeah,
most people will buy a box set. In fact, box sets are a big problem for me because, often where I have a few box sets, they're the last things I will open because it's cumbersome. You have to open the box set. Often it's not a very good way of having music. I reckon the box set it kind of kills my joy for, every time I have a box set, you just have to quote unquote gird your loins to actually open the fucking thing, because I just feel that these companies who reissue the same records over and over again just do it because it makes money. There's it's not for the music. Let's not be hypocritical here. It's nothing to do with the music. It's to do with how much money they can make out of it, because people are freaking gullible. And sorry, but it's true. That's human nature. Here's a new version of Dark Side of the Moon. You don't need a new version of Dark Side of the Moon. You already know how it sounds. I never need to listen to that record ever again in my life. I reckon. I know it so well. I don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
It's and you're never gonna get a better emotional response from it and from the first time you heard it on a shitty CD. Like, that's the thing, which is really strange. Like, sometimes you rebuy things, but then that first kick that you got when you first heard it way back then, you'll never get that, even though you've got the best remastered vinyl of it. You'll never ever get to that place again, because it's a time period, it's a moment, it's an axis on which you're yourself kind of spinning. When I hear some records now, I think, oh yeah, they sound great, but you can remember a time when you heard them first and go, wow, that was really cool, and you get like these goosebumps. But I do think all of this is it's a giant record company conspiracy to make people buy more records that they don't need. Like, record store day. Let's just talk about this for a minute. The number of unnecessary releases that gets put out during record store day for no reason at all is just mind-boggling. Sometimes they reissue albums that you can find readily in almost every shop. Who needs another Bruce Springsteen reissue? Who needs another Elton John reissue? Come on, people, let's be realistic here. No one needs those. But I tell you what, when it's great is when they put out an album that you can't find anywhere else because it's completely out of print, and they reissue it really nicely. Then I totally support and appreciate it, because I think, you're talking about like a 50-year-old anniversary. If it's a record that's really hard to get, then it's nice because a new audience can just get into it. That's great. But apart from that, if you are some dude who's got like four copies of that record and you want a fifth one, well, it's your money after all. It is your money and it is your time and it is your But if you factor time, money, and space, which are the three essential components of music listening, the elements that you need, time is number one, above money and above space. Time, because this year. I'm back on this project where I stopped, quote unquote, buying music. I've bought only new records largely. I've bought one or two reissues, that things that are hard to come by. but I've bought just new records. Like just, it's not that I haven't bought any records at all. I bought some records, but you know, you could quite easy, like for me, because I don't have now this overflow of records of new records that I can't deal with. I've got the time to listen to them one by one and really enjoy them, and they stay in the box, and I listen to them, you know, multiple times. I don't have hundreds of new records. I probably have this year. I've probably bought 20 or 25 new records, and the difference between that and having a constant influx of records that you can't deal with, because time, I've realized, is the number one factor. Space, yeah, okay, you can deal with space, but if time is missing, you can't. There's no point having those records. There's no point having them because you can't listen to them. You know, and you know, it's nice to have them on your shelf and brag about, you know, that the fact that you've got this or that on Instagram or on the VC or whatever. But in the end, it's just is a piece of cardboard and plastic that you can't use. It's just
Yeah. If you put it like that, it's a pretty mad thing to do, isn't it? But you were talking about Record Store Day, and I am quite a fan of Record Store Day.
I hate Record Store Day. I hate it with a deep, intense passion, because I think it's a fake market. It creates nothing but just a false economy for one day of the year. I know it's great for record stores. It is.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Now the thing is that there's an awful lot of rubbish there. Now, and it falls into sort of two major categories, maybe three. The first category is the live album, and they always say first time on vinyl, and the reason it's a first time on vinyl because it doesn't deserve to be listened to by anybody. You know, they just some random gig from, you know, X years ago, and it's there to sort of, you know, tempt the fans of that genre or that artist. And then you've got the ones that you mentioned before, Fred, which is the, you know, first time on vinyl for 20 years or whatever, and it's a record, and it's often records that you can find if you want a decent original copy. You can usually find them anyway. So there's those, and then there's always a bit of a death cult around Record Store Day. So whoever's sort of famous, who has died in the last, you know, 12 months since the last Record Store Day, you can be sure that they've scraped something, you know, by this person out of the barrel, you know. But there's also other stuff which is quite interesting stuff, you know, unusual stuff, and that's what I go for. And you know, there's I've always come away with some fairly decent stuff, and I always go to Jumbo Records in Leeds, and I know the owner sort of pretty well, a guy called Nick, and a couple of years ago, I was talking about Record Store Day, and it was a few weeks before, and he said, "Are you doing it?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." I said, "But I'm not queuing up overnight." I said, "I'll just turn up as and when." And he said, "Well, that's okay, Mike, because nobody buys the stuff that you like." And he's right. You know, the stuff that I think, you know, people should be going mad for, they don't, and I'm really grateful for that. You know, I always love to see plenty of David Bowie on the Record Store Day list, because that really attracts people. You know, the David Bowie related.
Yeah, the other stuff, which is not a bit of a concern for Fred or myself, because we are not in Europe, but what Eclectic Vinyl says in especially in France, sometimes Record Store Day takes place exactly the same weekend when you have Den Bosch. What a joke!
Mm.
what a joke! Because this is the day usually a record store travels to Den Bosch to find stuff he can sell in a store. So how can he do record store day at the same time with lack of marketing? Because I talked to some people over here and it's completely joke. So I can imagine in Europe is the same, and travel to Den Bosch at the same time. How do they come up with such a stupid idea? I don't know. But yeah,
Yes, you would think, yeah, they must know. They
they
must
must
know.
they must know. Yeah, yeah. It's a record
Yeah,
store day. It's the day we do something special for you guys, for the local record shop. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Record store day is probably the day most consistently when I never go to the record store. It's when there's record store day, I just steer clear of
Yeah,
record stores.
yeah.
But I know what you're saying with the records that you want personally, because you're cool and you like cool records, and you
Oh,
know
thank you.
you're not going to buy those fucking Elton John records. You know, let the masses buy them. I mean, I'm very condescending here. I realize, but that's fine. People know me. I'm French anyway. That's what we do. But now Romu is a much nicer person than I am. Really, he's adopted a very kind of Zen, very. But he's also in sales. He has to be nice. Whereas I'm just a fool.
Just for the public, I'm a real asshole in real life. So, but
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. You're an
there you go.
asshole in real
yeah.
life.
I
Ah, no, but
I have a single. I have a single that I bought on Record Store Day that was signed by Elton John. Well, actually, it wasn't. It was a record by a single from Yard Act, and the band were in Jumbo Records because they've got a very close connection to that record store. They were there on Record Store Day, and they had done they'd done a split single, and they'd done on the B side there was a version of Elton John's Tiny Dancer that Yard Act had done, and Elton John was involved. So James was there, the singer, lead singer of Yard Act. He was there, and he was signing the records, and he signed my single to Mike with all my love, Elton John, which I thought was really cool. I like
Sweet,
that.
sweet.
And then once he'd done it, he said, "You don't mind, do you?"
No.
No, I don't mind at all. But
well,
yeah, it's a thing. And I also know, Fred, that you're a real fan of coloured vinyl, aren't you? I know, you won't admit it, but you absolutely love it.
oh my god, yeah, yeah.
And I think you told me that green vinyl always sounds the best. Is that right?
No, it's splatter green. Splatter green. Yeah.
Whatever.
And that's another way of extracting money from.
Yeah, I
from
don't
record
I don't
vinyl.
understand. I personally don't understand that people can be that excited about the color of a record. I just don't understand how that's possible. That people look at the color record and go, "Oh." I sometimes, it happens to watch or listen to people talking about records on the VC and beyond. And sometimes you hear people talk about colored vinyl and how excited they are, and you think, gosh, anything must be exciting in life for you, like if that's your excitement, you must be excited about just about everything. Oh, a traffic light. Oh, it's like, because when I think of colored vinyl, I think, like, okay, you take it out of the sleeve, it's blue, it's red, or whatever. You put it on. How often are you going to look at this? You put it on your turntable, you walk off, you sit on your chair. There's nothing about this that is, it's just a marketing ploy again. It's just a marketing ploy for people to buy more records. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I see visual appeal is all part of the vinyl experience. Oof. Yes, okay. Yeah, to a point. But I just do think that what's I mean, yes, I get the bigger sleeve, yes, for sure. The artwork, I get that, but the color of the vinyl, really, in what universe, I'm sorry to disagree with perfect prescription there, but yeah, okay, the bigger sleeve, the bigger the bigger artwork, yeah, for sure. But the record, I mean, come on, how often are you going to look at this? Like I don't know. I mean, it's just again, it's a personal preference. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm right. I just want to stress this out for everybody viewing here. I'm not right. I'm just stating my own preference. Okay. I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything. I'm just saying for me, it just makes no difference at all.
Yeah.
And if I appear to be a bit annoying or condescending or triggering, then I apologize. But well, no, I don't apologize. It's me. It's who I am. I'm not going to. It's just.
I mean, the comment before this, it was that the visual perception is part of the vinyl experience, and I would agree with that. And I think a sort of well packaged vinyl record can be really nice, and particularly if you get some really comprehensive notes about the artist or about the album,
which we never read.
When it comes to a blind buy, absolutely, we all are guided by.
Well, it draws you in, doesn't it?
Yeah, but as soon as we put a record on the timetable, all this element vanished. It's all about music.
But the thing is, you say, well, the color of the vinyl makes no difference. Yeah, of course it doesn't. When it comes, when push comes to shove, if you're putting a record on turntable, the only time when the color of the vinyl makes a difference is that somebody was telling me, and they're a DJ, and they said clear vinyl is an absolute nightmare for a DJ because you can't cue it up because you can see the track divisions from the other side of the record, so it's very difficult to see where where you're going to drop the stylus. So that's the only thing that makes a difference. And
I think the other thing that makes a difference, if I may say, is that on black vinyl you can see dust, and dirt and other things more clearly than you can on other color vinyl. There's no question about this. When you've got a black record, you can straight away tell whether there's it helps me personally. I think the black is a good. It's a good shade, a good color to determine how dirty your record, or if it needs to be brushed or whatever. That helps. Otherwise,
yes. I think if you owned a record company, Fred, it would be the sort of Henry Ford thing, wouldn't it? You can have any color you like as long as it's black.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say? So,
I was saying, as Henry Ford said, you can have any color you like as long as it's black.
Yeah,
that's a famous.
That would be your philosophy, wouldn't it? But you're saying about another thing that just occurred to me is that you get all these pointless threads that people are throwing up all the time, to try and get people to show records without ever sort of getting anywhere near to actually discussing the music that's actually contained on that record. And sometimes it might be show a red record, a red vinyl record. Well, in here somewhere there's probably quite a few red vinyl records, but I don't know which they are. I've got no idea.
Same, yeah.
That's the effect that it has on me.
That's right.
I just don't know.
And you made a really great point there, which is there's literally so many quote unquote vinyl channel, because when we talk about vinyl community, it's what it is often. It's just because it's just the object. It's just the fetish of the object. It's I find the more I see, the more I feel the people are really obsessed with the object, with the thing that they've got, rather than what it contains, which is it's a vector for music, obviously. And you see this with those challenges. Show a yellow record, and people say absolutely nothing about the music. They just show a yellow record. And that's the antithesis of what we do here. You and I, and Romu as well. We take out records and we talk about how it impacts us and what we get from it. Why we bought that record. What's our personal connection with it.
Yeah.
And we also discuss what kind of music it may be. Whether it's like a post-rock record or whatever, a free jazz record, which is it's the missing element on most YouTube vinyl videos. It's people have put this kind of object on the pedestal and go, oh look, I've got this on vinyl, but you don't get anything else other than this kind of basic consumer response. And I think it's a shame. There's so few channels that I would watch now where I get something from watching it, where I think, oh, this person really loves this music, and it comes across as I just can't imagine watching a video where people show yellow records or red records. It would bring nothing to my life at all. And yeah.
So Collectivity is asking if you are willing or okay to play a game.
Depends what the game is.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, sure, but yeah, let's try.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about record for.
Yeah, but no, I mean, look, I feel like if you're going to come on screen like this, you need to demonstrate a passion for the music, not the object. The object is one thing, but it's the music that counts. Yeah.
I mean, I have a self-imposed rule when I do videos, and that is I will only show a record if I've listened to it recently.
Same thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because then I can talk about it.
Yeah.
And more and more now, I'm sort of just delving into my collection, pulling out stuff that I haven't listened to for sometimes many years.
Story of my life.
Yeah. But this is it. So while you don't need to be constantly buying records, says a person who's constantly buying records. But there's plenty there. You get to a point, and you said about time. I mean, I have a lot more time to listen to records being retired, but there's still only so many hours in a day. And I mean, I don't know how long. Maybe I'll try and estimate it sometimes. How long it would take me to listen to my whole record collection from A to
Z? Years.
It would be a long time.
Years.
Yeah. And I probably don't have that much time, as much time left as it would take me to do it, And
but you've got, as you pointed out, you got more time because you're retired, so you can listen to a lot more records. Yeah.
Oh, I do, and I do. I'm constantly listening to records, but
that's I think that's the whole point of having a library, because it's not a collection. In my view, it's a library. You go. I've got bookshelf. Like if you could see, I've got 4 bookshelves filled with books in the house everywhere, and it's the same to me. I don't view this as any different as to what I've got behind me. It's just if I want to read Dostoevsky, I've got on my bookshelf 3 or 4 books by him, and I can pull a book. And if I want to listen to John Coltrane, I can do the same here. So Eclectic Vinyl wants us to take 3 or 4 records from a collection in different musical genre. That's what he wants us to do. Should we do that now?
Yeah, sure, sure. I will. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, random. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I'm quite happy to do that. I mean, there was some music
Yeah.
that I
Okay.
was going to show anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sure. I will just try to keep up with the comments and picking up myself when my VC friends are back. Well, having said that, I'm still enjoying the CD box set I used to buy 15, maybe 10 years ago, or yeah, 15 years ago, when CD market was really low. When the, especially when during Christmas when they were making this box set very cheap with several albums with the booklet. This was also a time before I had internet, so to me it was a great way to learn about the artist, to to read the biography, the story of the band, and having several albums at a time. So I'm not totally against again box set, but yeah, there were stuff they were selling, yeah, perhaps 20 years ago. Yeah, so long time. But now it's totally different. So now it's my turn. I just waited that you guys are back, and I will. Okay, so 4 records, different genres. Okay, yeah, you can keep talking. I'm just
Yeah. So what do we need to do?
yeah.
Eclectic.
Just so four records, all different genres.
Then you choose who will start between all of you. Okay. Maybe maybe we go in the order of the screen. Romu can start, and then you can go second, and then go third. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
If Romu,
I agree with that. That the object complements the music, but I think you can go a little bit too far with that. Where the object becomes the purpose, becomes the main thing. Say it's really nice to have a well packaged record, isn't it? And that certainly adds to the experience for me. But I wouldn't say that it's necessarily the main thing.
yeah. I want to thank Eclectic Vinyl because I've pulled out 4 records that I haven't listened to in a while, and I'm going to listen to them after this. After we make this.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah.
But look, I understand that what I'm talking about can be contentious and can be seen as, maybe some people might hear me and think that I'm being offensive or anything, but I'm not being offensive. I'm just reflecting my own observations about buying music and listening to music for years and years, and and how the market now has overtaken the listening experience and the discover. As you said, mostly the discovery of new music has been buried under a big pile of expensive reissues, like when we look at and I'm sure we'll talk about just a bit later, but
yes, I was just thinking that Ramu's got his copy now, hasn't he?
Yeah. What joy we get from this new stuff, as opposed to just buying.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. And I think that I was thinking about the situation that was happening, with music in the mid-70s.
Yeah.
Where the music on vinyl, as it all was then, was sort of very tightly controlled by a handful of very big corporations, and they invested their resources into keeping their sort of their stars, their assets sort of going. So you'd get these bands that have been going for years and years, and all the marketing, all the effort would go into promoting this music, and at the same time there was, there was new music out there that was being ignored by the major labels. And it wasn't until about in the UK, probably 75, 76, where people started getting wise to this and thinking, well, why is this the case? I go to I go to small venues around London or whatever, and I hear this great music, but these artists and bands are all unsigned. So you'd get record labels like, the indies, particularly, Stiff Records, Chiswick are probably, two of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
And they started releasing, initially singles by these bands, and then eventually the majors, they started catching up a bit. But I think it was only because they could see there were a few bucks in this, that it wasn't out of any sort of love for sort of like new music or any kind of diversity. It was just that, well, yeah, there's a market here that we've been ignoring.
Yeah.
But, and I think the vinyl community is a bit like that. That there's a certain type of music, and there are particular artists that you see all the time on the vinyl community.
Yeah, this, and that's it. That's it.
That's it. And if, sorry, but I was just going to say, if the vinyl community was a movie, it would be Jurassic Park. And that clearly, sort of the DNA of Paul McCartney and Mick Jagger have been discovered in some amber somewhere, preserved, in pristine condition. And
you were so right.
And it's particularly the last few months, and sort of in the last sort of couple of weeks, it's all been, hey, I've got this copy of the new Stones record as well.
There's not. Let me tell you, Mike. There's not a record. I'm going to say about Dungeon Lane, whatever.
Well, that was that's just taken. Yeah, Dungeon Lane and then the Stones, wasn't it? Yeah.
And the Stones. There's not two records that I want to have less in my collection than those two. To me, it like, I don't want to even listen to what's on there, because we know that Paul McCartney and the Stones have already made their best work fucking 30 years ago. What sort of, I want actual new music. People will think that the new Paul McCartney is new music, understand nothing about new music. I mean, let's just be serious. That is not new music. That is a guy who's been making the same kind of music for 60 years, who's made another, was given the world another. Did we really need it? I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, but it's like, that sort of thing where you just get these records, and everybody has a copy of it. And before Dungeon Lane, it was an album by Morrissey, for God's sake, And it's like sort of living in the city, and all the lights of the city, they drown out the night sky, so you can't see the stars anymore.
Yeah,
and that's what Rolling Stones and Paul McCartney albums are. They're this invasive sort of bright light that drowns out everything that's good and wonderful. If
you type vinyl community in the search box, which I do on occasion, I just, because sometimes I want to see if there's a video that I might be interested in watching. So I'm just like, I just type vinyl community. Sometimes something okay comes up, But then there was a time where every single video had this Paul McCartney album as a thumbnail, like almost every video, and you think, this is sheep mentality. Like, oh, he's got it, so I have to have it, and to be the first to show it, or that kind of bragging rights. Or I was the first to have this. Like, fuck off. I mean, come on. Like,
there is
come
this
on,
video.
fuck off.
There is this video no one is making on the. We already tackle a little bit the subject here on the live streams. You and I, Mike. When is the right time to jump off the train?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
kind of video.
Yeah.
I would love to
so-
see that. Yeah.
So, Eclectic Vinyl,
Yeah.
we've decided that you were first, Romu. You were first because we're going in the order of the screen. So
Okay.
you go first. So, Eclectic, what do you want us to do? Come on,
Only showing
instructions.
4. Well, I went in my collection, pick randomly 4
Hmm.
different 4 records,
Yeah, 4 different genres, isn't it?
4
Okay.
different genres
Yeah.
from different.
So what's the rest of the instruction? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
mate. On y
Come on,
va.
mate.
On y va, on y va.
Yeah.
Really blue.
And they've all got to be on different coloured vinyl as well.
Oh, if it's
Romu first. Okay.
okay. So I start first. Okay. So 4 different records, 4 different genres, and I choose 4 different countries.
Yeah,
Just
but what's the purpose of this thing?
Ouais,
Like-
c'est quoi le but là, bordel?
We were asked to do it, and we're being polite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it's a
Why
nice
not?
it's a nice idea, but we have to know about. Is it simply okay? I'll start talking first, showcasing
Okay.
first. Okay, so first record, first country, first
Okay.
genre.
No. There's another instruction.
Okay,
No. No, we're not playing that. I'm not fucking smelling inside my records.
no,
You know?
I'm not doing that. I'm not
No,
doing
no, we're not doing that.
No, I'm not doing that. Just
no.
talking about the record. So first record, first country, Poland. Okay. Hi, Richard. This one, which I already Skaldovie, which I already mentioned several times. This is a Baroque pop record from Poland, 1970. There are 2 major elements on this record. The voice, very like opera of the guy, and the keyboard, like very like Brian Auger, reminds me also a little bit of the Zombies. Yeah, Baroque pop, Poland.
Okay, now
1970.
smell it. Now smell it.
No, I won't. I won't do that. I won't do that. My wife will watch the stream after.
No, but it comes from Poland. It probably will smell like sauerkraut. Possible.
Fuck you. Yeah, very cheap. I found this copy in Den Bosch. Okay,
Or pierogies, maybe. It probably smells like pierogies.
pierogi that are the Polish ravioli for those who don't know.
Pierogies.
Pierogi. Okay, next album, next country, Italy. One of my favorite artists, Franco Battiato, La Voce del Patrone. This is a 1981 album. This is a progressive pop. Yeah, very structured with you really have it takes a really high level in Italian to understand the lyrics. It's about the history, the Ming Dynasty, all sort of things, but music very like accessible, like really Italian. Yeah.
I get the game. The first you have to smell it, then then the second record you have to lick it, then the third you have to rub it, and the last moment of the game you have to rub your dick on it. That's the game, isn't it?
Okay.
Someone's not taking this seriously, I think.
As for the cannot wait to see you tackling the
Involving me in games is not a good idea. I
okay.
always mess up with rules.
Then the third album, an album from France, an artist who I think was born in France, but to a Chile father. That's the one. This is Ramon Chomata, a very obscure artist, even though he worked with some of the mainstream French stuff from the 80s, like how was Toi mon toi. Anyway,
Eddie Medeiros.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for reminding. But this is nothing like pop. This is really like musique concrète. You can hear sound of the nature. It reminds me a little bit of L'Empire des Sons, this kind of French, not synthwave, not punk, very very like avant avant-garde. Yeah. And so yeah, French. And as for the last record, because I just picked up 4.
But I don't know what the game was like. What
Yeah, I don't know.
you have to show four records.
This one, which was brought to me by Fred, Big Star 1000. Oh, Fred, you are here.
Mild Life.
My
Yeah.
life, automatic. So very interesting. The you had sent me a copy of solo album from the guy with nothing to do with that, and I listened to this one online. I really love this this spacey sound with some French touch influenced.
Well, it's kind of like a it's kind of like a pop album with a jazz kind of jazzy backdrop, which is
Yeah, but the electronic jazz a little bit.
yeah new
Electronic
jazz.
jazz with Daft reminds me also a little bit of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Some of the so
Yeah, it's got a bit. Their first album is not like that at all. I'm love their first record. Well, I just love their. I think it's great. It's a fantastic album, more than this one. Yeah. Automatic.
Okay. Next up,
Right.
It's called Grandpa Time.
yeah, okay, okay,
No, it's cool Grandpa Time, not Fred.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Him.
Yeah. Fred decided that that's the order we're going to do. He's buying time for himself, I think.
Oh no, I've got my records in my hand.
Right.
No problem.
Very good. Right. Okay. First off, how about this?
There you go. In your face, VC. You've never seen that record ever before.
Yeah,
You know,
Mama Swayze.
Mike's way of saying "fuck you all."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is 2 fingers up to the VC. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, this is a wonderful album, and I hadn't listened to it for quite some time, and it's on my list. I'll probably talk about it when I do my next video. But they're from Stockholm, so it's a fusion of Swedish jazz and sort of African rhythms, particularly sort of from from Zimbabwe, and the you can see there the instrument is the mbira, which is like a wooden sort of acoustic box with.
It's a thumb piano, yeah.
Like metal sort of keys on the.
It's a thumb piano, yeah.
Yeah, and she also plays the marimba as well on this, and it's this lovely sort of fusion of these sort of very kind of quite traditional sort of African sort of instruments and African rhythms with some really cool jazz, and it's a fantastic album. And I've not listened to it for quite some time, and I've listened to it about 4 times now in the last 3 days. So there you go. That's the first one.
And you could look at that cover for a while too, I feel.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the cover. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. Next up is a band I love because they're from Leeds, and I have to love everything from Leeds. So, and it smells of Yorkshire pudding, by the way, because it's from Leeds. And this is the latest from Yard Act. You're going to need a little music, and it was released a week yesterday, and Yard Act were at Jumbo Records in Leeds, and as you can see, they signed the copies, had a bit of a chat, and yeah. So,
are they? Do you think? This is a serious question. Do you think, like a young band like this, you turn up to this, and they see someone in your age bracket? And I'm not saying this to be rude. Are they rude?
He's about to insult me, isn't he?
No. Is there an expression of surprise on their face when they see that their music is also loved not just by young folk, but
Well,
all sorts of. Do you get that at all, or
I don't get that, and this
no?
is this is an interesting thing, and I think things have changed over the years.
Yeah.
Because I think when I was, say, 20 years old, if I went to a gig and there was somebody my age at the gig, I would think, what are you doing here, Grandad? This is this is for young people. But nowadays at gigs, that you get people of all different ages, and when I went to see Kneecap with my son. About 3 months ago now, there were people of all ages at the gig, and nobody takes any notice. It's not, it's not considered to be, a sort of weird thing. I think.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it is, and people are just too polite to say anything. But I often look around and think, perhaps I'm the oldest person in the room, but.
It's really cool that they've all signed it. There, it almost looks like it's part of the artwork. It's almost
yeah. So this is this is post punk. It's great stuff, and the lyrics are pretty good, and they can be quite political, but not in a sort of party political way, but. They're people who are on the right side of the argument, which of course is the left side. But that's Yard Act, a band I followed from the start. Right, okay, something from. Well, she was born in Benin. Her parents were from Mali, and she settled in France, and it's a brilliant.
Fatoumata Diawara.
Fatoumata Diawara, yeah, and this is her latest album, Massa. And I absolutely love her music. One of my favorite artists. She is really, really good. She's a guitarist, so her music tends to be sort of like a fusion of this sort of desert blues and the more sort of traditional music from West Africa. And it's absolutely lovely stuff. She's got a fantastic voice. She's a brilliant guitar player, and
I've only got the album where she's on the cover with a guitar. She, the album, I can't remember the name of it, but she's on the front cover playing guitar.
Yeah. Is that the debut? I can't think.
I think it's the
one
debut.
I don't have. I think the last album I missed out on, but I've got the debut and the next one. But yeah, and I can't think what it's called. But this is an album that you really need to listen to it. Particularly if you like African music. And the fourth one. And this is a new artist, and she's called Salwa Jaradat. She's from Palestine, and there she is. And this is her debut album.
Yeah,
and
looks cool.
It's really, really, really lovely. Sort of Middle Eastern rhythms. She's got a wonderful voice. And she says, if I can read it. Yeah, so it says that she's giving voice to the often silenced words of Arab women, and so it's poetry that she's put to music, and again it's this is a really, really beautiful album. So there you go. Yeah, that's my 4. So it's your turn, Fred.
That's the one I was talking about, Mike.
Oh yes, that's right. I think that's a debut. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lovely, lovely record
it
too.
did, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Now you've talked about it, it's going to stay out, and I'm going to play it later because I haven't heard it for a while and I can't remember what it sounds like. But so 4 records from different styles. The first one here I've got is this American Primitive classic, The Falconer's Volume 1. I've got the 2 volumes on Tacoma Records, the historical label founded by John Fahey, who is, more or less the founder of that musical sort of genre, if you will, which is, very sort of multi-layered, complex acoustic guitar music, where these people take their cues from blues, bluegrass, American folk, 20th century classical music, and Indian raga, amongst other things, and just produce this kind of resonating, looping kind of cyclical melodies that it's really, really beautiful music. It's very, very I can't get enough of American primitive music, and I picked that one because it's a cool record too. And Robbie Basho, obviously, a master of the guitar. Then I went into the reggae section, and I picked
that's a lovely album,
Forces of Victory by Linton Kwesi Johnson. That's it came out on Island Records. Yeah, it's got this wacky kind of sort of what do you call this again? A label? Oh yes, this is a label. Dub poetry, you would say. He's a figure on the sort of reggae sort of punk scene in the late 70s, early 80s. I think my favorite album is probably Bass Culture, but I think this album is equally as successful in what he's doing. He's obviously critiquing very in a sort of vitriolic way the government and racism and life in Britain at the time, because being black in Britain in the late 70s wasn't a walk in the park, and he does it really, really. It's a fantastic reggae record, and it's dub reggae, I would say, but it's dub poetry. Yeah, fantastic. The next one that I picked was from my French section. I've got a section with all sorts of French records. It's Moravagine. That's a French jazz rock band, not too dissimilar to bands like Cortex or Placebo, the Belgian band led by Marc Moulin. Very in the same kind of vein, sort of the Herbie Hancock way of making jazz, basically, as I would describe it. Very sort of funky and loose, and lots of electric keyboards like Fender Rhodes, and everything is played really tight, really super funky. That's an original pressing that I found in a small market town in the south of France. It was just really like. It was just like a tiny market, and they had like 3 crates of vinyl when this was in there for, I don't know, €5 or something, which is it's a great find on the day. So you've got flutes and sax and electric piano, double bass, everything, and funky 7. You can see the kind of music it's going to be. White dudes making funky sort of headhunters type of music. or yeah, very close to placebo anyway. And the last record was from the sort of psych section of my collection, psych and prog section. This record, which I talked about in the very early days of the VC, I'm talking 2010, 11. And in fact, interesting story is that the manager of this, the producer, no, was it? Yeah, the guy who produced this record actually contacted me on YouTube and say, "Oh, Ezra has seen your video and she thanks you for promoting it," which is really
that's
like,
lovely, isn't it? That's lovely.
yeah, it was so Ezra Mohawk. She was associated with the Mothers of Invention. She was one of these many Zappa collaborators, and she made this solo album with her then husband Fraser Mohawk. That's not their real name, obviously, but it's a mix between I don't know. It's imagine crossing someone like Laura Nero, who's like a piano singer-songwriter, with something a bit more psychedelic and loose. It's very difficult to describe. It's more it's kind of a psych folk, but on the piano kind of record.
Right.
And there's some very, very sort of like almost, yeah, very, very funky moments on it. If you listen to Spiral, for example, which is the second track, which has got this like really loose, funky guitar rhythm in there. But there's Dallas Taylor on drums on this, who was associated with Crosby, Stills and Nash, for example. It's kind of like a little bit West Coast psych, but very, very loose in the sort of her voice is very high pitched. You know, you hear some of the echoes of Joni Mitchell or Laura Nero a little bit in there as well. Very, very good record. 1971, I think, and also an original press. How nice is this? It's beautiful, isn't it? It's lovely. I love these kind of records where it's all black and you open inside and it's colorful. You know, it's sort of unexpected. Yeah. So these are the 4 records that I.
Nice. So who won the game? you decide in the peanut gallery.
I don't know what the game was. Showing 4 records. We were to show 4 records.
Anyway, it filled the time, didn't it? It was Anyway, you know, it's kind of expected that we show some records, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's what we're here for.
About these things.
Maybe it was a trick to push us to show records because we were having this long stretch.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, Imahan were mentioned there. Yeah, excellent. I think I showed one of their albums.
Thumbnail time.
Oh!
We have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bit of one-upmanship from Fred there. Oh, I've got a signed copy.
But
thank you, Fred.
No.
For those who don't know, Fred just sent me this copy.
Yeah,
because I was on the lookout for a copy of this record, and pretty much impossible here. So, thank you, Fred. Yeah. This is we can talk about this one for a sec. No. This is their latest album. They dropped Eddie Curran, Suppression Ring, and still has the energy, punk garage. Yeah,
and it was a big surprise as well. I think. Well, it was to me that all of a sudden there was a new Eddie Curran record coming out.
Well, you know, I live here in Australia, right? And they're from Melbourne. I came across this record directly from them. Like so I'm walking in this. We had this independent record exchange, label exchange, independent music exchange, on the 7th of June, 7th and 8th of June, and I went along. It's like a record fair, but it's all just Melbourne labels selling their records. It's just like a giant indie label record fair. Fantastic, lots of people, very vibrant atmosphere, and I just was walking through each stall, and I see a stall with all these Eddie Curran records. And I look at the two dudes, and I'm going, "This is fucking Mikey Young in front of me." I'm just double take, and so I see this record here that we've all got on the wall, and I stupidly asked them. I said to them, "Is like I said, you're Eddie Curran, aren't you?" And they go, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I'm a fan. Number one, is this?" Like I said, I've never seen that record. Is this like a comp of your work? Like I genuinely ask because I've never seen the record, and they go, "No, it's a new album, and we're just dropping it right now." Like, so seemingly not many people knew about it. And then I just told them how much I love the music, and they were super like there was not an ounce of smugness about them. They're really like Mikey Young is a fucking legend on this scene here. He's produced well over, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 records. Like every record you can buy in Melbourne has got Mikey Young's name on it because he's the mastering engineer that is most in demand. Like this dude is just so humble, and so he's in 2 or 3 really cult bands from here, like Total Control. He's in Eddie Curran Separation Ring. He plays with lots and lots of other people, and they were just they said it's a new album, and at the time I hadn't heard a note from it, but when I took it home, I went, "This is a fucking classic." It's actually there in the pecking order. It's probably the 3rd best record, like after Primary Colors and the debut album.
It's not better than Primary Colors.
No, I don't think so. Because now Primary Colors is massively influential. I don't think they'll get that level of influence again. But there's a big revival with Eddie Curran, and they were just really nice. And then I talked to another dude who was records I love. Is this guy called I'm just gonna my records are right behind me here. It's this guy here. It's a guy called Alex McFarlane, and this is him here. Actually, this guy here, and he runs this label called Hobbies Galore, and he said, "Oh, I made a record with Mikey Young, and so I bought that record as well, and Mikey Young signed that record for me again." It was cool. It was a cool day. It was really lovely to actually meet these people and just like say to these people, "I fucking love your records. Thank you for putting them out." Talking to labels and going, "Thank you for releasing those records," because it's really because to be honest, most of the new records that I buy are records from the scene here. It's as simple as that, and. I sent Romu a VCLT just like this week, and they were just records that you could buy here for, you can find here in almost every record store. And same with the VCLT that I sent you, Mike. It's just normal stuff from here, basically, which is it's really great. The scene here, it's really fantastic. It's really pleasing.
I would like to know why Mike could so easily find himself a copy of this one. You buy yourself this one in Leeds, right?
Sorry, what was that?
You bought yourself the copy of this album at your local store in Leeds, right? Yeah. So what is the reason? Is there a connection? They know, or did you say, "Hey, please order for me"?
No. It's it came up as part of their regular stock because they're a pretty good record store, Jumbo.
Yeah,
that's a very good reason.
They're not scared. They're not scared of sort of putting stuff in their stock that might not be well known. But it was released a couple of weeks later in the UK than it was in Australia. So I had to wait an next
Mm.
2 weeks. But as soon as it was out, I went down there and got my pre-ordered copy. But yeah, in fact, there's quite a lot of Australian music nowadays does sort of make it to the UK, but not nearly enough. And particularly the sort of stuff that you're really into, Fred. That doesn't
Yeah,
that doesn't really make it. The more esoteric stuff. I think just doesn't make it. To the
yeah.
northern hemisphere.
No, it's normal. I just want to respond to so Ingo, Vinyl Ghost.
Ingo.
Yeah. God is a band from Melbourne. They released this really classic single called My Pal. It's one of the most classic punk era singles that we have. And he is just saying it, My Pal, yeah. And the dudes live around the corner from, like, they don't live very far from here actually, because years ago they reissued their record. The main guy, reissued the record because it was impossible to find, and now you can buy the reissue. Ingo, the reissue is available. And when I ordered the record, it came from near here, not far from here. It was on the address on the thing was it was really funny. It was like, oh yeah, God lived near, well, literally I live near God. Yeah. But there's a reissue of the single, Ingo, and I'm sure there's a label that does that in Melbourne. I can look that for you. They were at the record fair too. They're at the record fair that I'm talking about, and I saw those records. But as you said, Mike, there are some records that we release here that are, you could only ever find them here, and that's the beauty of it. Because, for me, when I pull out some interesting little records, I'm glad that this is like. To me, that's my joy. My absolute joy is to actually find really cool records that come from this place and share them with the rest of the world. The rest of the world, meaning the people who watch my channel. And just to go, okay, here's, even if you can't buy it, you could go and listen to it. One example I've got here, I just want to show a record that I really, really, really fucking love. So this is a new album. It's just come out a month ago, 2 months ago. 37 members of the group known as, so the group is Bodies of Divine, Infinite and Eternal Spirit. That's the name of the band. Perform the 46-minute song Disaster One. So it is what it is. It's 37 people who play one song. The song's called Disaster One. When I saw the cover of this album, straight away I was drawn to it because it reminded me of stuff by Japanese bands or krat rock bands, or that kind of. It had a sort of vibe to me, and I kind of blind bought it, and I thought this looks really cool. It was only like $35 or something, very cheap. This is incredible. It's a suite of sounds which is inspired by experimental rock, post rock, krat rock. There's a whole, it feels like at times listening to a little bit of Ashra Temple mixed with a bit of Godspeed You Black Emperor, which is saying a lot. It was produced by Lawrence English, who is an ambient musician who is legendary on the scene here, very, very well known. And the music is really, really captivating on this. And this is kind of album that, there's 200 of those that exist, I think, as an original pressing. And I think it'd be very hard to find for people. But, all the same, there will be records that you get on the scene in Leeds, for example, that will be pressed in 200 copies as well, and that will be very hard to find. So all this to say that when you have a scene around you, it's really good to actually support and to get into it. as opposed to trying to buy records from the other side I mean, look, Eddie Curran being an example. Eddie Curran's from here. You both have got a copy now, but typically, if you think of how music used to be a lot more local than it is now. Now it's kind of, you go on Discogs and you buy something on Discogs, and but this kind of album is a treasure. I just think to me, it's just, I'm totally tripping on this. Yeah.
I try. You know my philosophy. Whenever I have the chance to travel back to France to see the family and friends, or to Germany, my one is adapt. And I won't buy Canadian music. Well, I'm in Poland, or here I don't buy French. But Australia, it's far. I will probably never have a chance to travel there. So I guess Discogs or you, Fred. That's the go-to.
I sent Romu this record.
Yeah.
Like in his...
Oh yes, you shared that with us on WhatsApp today, didn't you?
Sky, yeah. So when I went to the record fair that I was talking about with the labels, I came across this label, Vessel Records. Never seen them before. Like, I mean, and I take an interest in all sorts of labels from here, but I never seen them. And I said to them, "Oh, what do you do?" And they said, "Well, we do mostly electronic music. We do house, lots of kind of dancey kind of music." And I said, "Oh, okay. What would you recommend to me? A record that you're really proud of?" And they go, "Well, this is not house music, but we're really proud of this record." And I said, "Okay, just sell me a copy." I went home and I was really shocked because it's like an ambient, kind of an ECM-esque music for airports, kind of like very, very gentle, very spiritual ambient album made by this woman, Becky Sui Jen, who plays Korg and all sorts of instruments. And she's composed a lot of those songs. And on Bandcamp, they sell at $20 a piece, those, which is ridiculous. $20 a piece. That's what they sell for.
Wow.
And because nobody wants them, obviously. So I bought 3 or 4 copies of it. And I've just put one in the package for Romu because I thought, it's a nice record. He might enjoy it, and but I discovered it totally by chance, and I just love the fact that the front cover could be the back cover.
yeah, it's difficult to tell, isn't it?
Yeah. In the afternoon, Sky, yeah, it's very ambient, very. Romu, did you listen to it?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
What did
only one time, so I won't show this record because that's my other rules. I didn't properly listen to because I was doing lots of stuff at the same time. So part of the reason I won't talk about that today because I have but I felt it's an album I have to listen to several times because it's not like the rabbit hole I'm delving into right now, like post-punk or folk. And you mentioned on this letter the Brian Eno, and so I guess it will take several.
I know that that you're into more folk. I mean, I can see what you're posting, but I just sent you records that I thought would add something to your collection. It would be interesting for you to listen to. And I sent Romu as well a copy, like I did to you, Mike, of the Picture Music record. Do you remember the Picture Music record?
Yeah, it's a wonderful record, and it's still sat just up there, and that's where I keep the records that I haven't put back in into the main run because I'm still listening to them.
Yeah, I thought you might enjoy it. It's got a very sort of Brian Eno cluster kind of vibe to it.
But I mean, it says in the notes, doesn't it, that it's like a rediscovered record, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was gathering dust for years and years, and all of a sudden,
87. It was released in 87 on cassette in Brisbane. and then I see the question from Eclectic Vinyl. It's more simple to find records from the psychedelic porn crumpets. Well, I'm going to say this, Eclectic, because I'm not into their music. I know them. I know who they are, but I'm not into that kind of music. I don't pay attention. Like I think you could find those records. It's like everything. Like if you don't actually look for these records, you don't actively, your brain is not switched to that. It's not my kind of local music. So I guess yes, but I don't the real ones because I don't know. I don't really know.
I think it's a case really that not all record stores are the same, are they? And again, I keep going on about them, but Jumbo Records, that I know that they always stock psychedelic porn crumpets. Whenever there's a new release or whatever. So I could get hold of them, but again, it's not really my sort of thing. But a really weird thing that happens is that another record, that absolutely wonderful record that you sent to both of us, Fred, and that's Keanu Nelson.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't send the Keanu Nelson to Romu. I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't. No.
Oh. All right. Okay. Yeah.
No,
anyway,
I sent him. I sent him the
Nagawa, the woman plays guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. That's yeah. I remember.
The chick that plays kind of like bluesy
blues folk.
Folk. Yeah. That's why I sent. That's why I sent to Romu, but no.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know if that was a council of faux pas or not, but yeah,
no.
You sent it to me, Fred.
Yeah,
and I was talking about it in the store, and I said, have you heard this guy? I said, he's just brilliant. He's unique, and they said, yeah, we've got a single by him, and that was in Leeds. They had this single, and I bought that as well.
Yeah, the single was fantastic. Is that little kind of white and red kind of reddish? I've got the single too.
That's right. Yeah, but I was so surprised. That,
it's a nice piece. I mean, this album is just so gorgeous. It's just actually I've got it here right in front of me because I'm currently doing, as you know, if you follow my English-speaking channel, I'm at the moment doing a series on Melbourne labels. I'm doing this series on Melbourne labels, and my next installment will be on Efficient Space, which is, and that's why I've got that next to me. Yeah. This is the record that Mike is talking about. I just happen to have it here because that is a masterpiece, people.
It is, isn't it?
It is a masterpiece. It's a wonderful, vibrant, really deeply spiritual, kind of synth. What would you call this? It's very difficult. It's like somebody described this as suicide meets Francis Bebe, and I think it's probably right. It is like it is what it is. It's suicide meets Francis Bebe. It's got this kind of abstract, very naive vibe about it, but then it's got this very primitive synth in the background. It's a weird.
Yeah, it's quite lo-fi, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And his voice is heartbreaking. Like on the second side, there's a couple of songs where you just think, what a voice. What a voice. He's just really, really strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I once tried. I don't have any Suicide album. I once tried online and didn't do it for me. Don't know.
Suicide.
Yeah, he didn't do it for me. Yeah.
Oh, you need to hear it properly. I mean, I don't know.
The very first Killing Joke album instantly sold, and I'm still on the lookout for. But Suicide, I'm not sure if we could connect both. Could we connect both? No,
I don't think so. It's a totally different universe. Suicide is very primitive
in the way
keyboard.
that all these albums they 10 years in advance,
No, but
incorporating other stuff. Then
I don't think Killing Joke was that far ahead of time. Personally, I will be honest. I think Killing Joke was of its time, of its era. I think Suicide was about 15 years ahead of its time. I think that's the reality, because if you listen to Killing Joke, it is post-punk industrial music made at the same time as a lot of other post-punk industrial music was made. It's not different to, like, if you listen to Throbbing Gristle, it's the same time, and arguably much more ahead of the curve than Killing Joke. But Suicide is fucking weird. It's like you got these two dudes. You've got a dude that sings like Elvis and screams, and wields chains on on stage, complete psychopath, with another guy who plays, top volume keyboard with like the most primitive drum machine you can find, and it's just, it's insanely ahead of its time. It's like Can, or it's like it's one of these bands which is just they were so ahead of the curve that everybody else tried to copy them after that, and that's the mark of true avant-garde. Don't think that many bands try to copy Killing Joke. They're already doing that music in a time. That's my opinion anyway. And Mike was alive at that time, so he can maybe add something to this.
He's 2 pence.
Yeah. I mean, there are people I know who really, really love Killing Joke, but they've never really stood out for me as that special. But maybe that's just me.
I'm not saying they're not a good band. That's just rephrased. I think they're very good, but I think it's a totally different beast to Suicide. I don't think you can put them in the same basket. And that's why when you talk about Kenny Nelson and comparing it to Suicide, it's because it's hard to compare it with a lot of other things, because the music is very primitive. It's almost like they've gone, oh, let's just make a record with whatever we can find. And but it's it's
okay. I will give Suicide another chance. It's not a definitive. It's
but let's talk about some other records. Here is a new record that I love. Can I show some new records? And Mark,
no, only Beatles and okay.
Yeah.
Do you know this?
No.
No.
Yeah. This is the new record by Anna Roxanne. Her name is. I don't know. I wonder if there's a picture. There's not even anything there. Yeah, that's her name, Anna Roxanne. That's her name there. You can see her name. Yeah. She's an ambient artist. I think she's from memory. I think she's American. And this is basically a beautiful piano and vocal ambient record. It's very, very sparse. It's got these really delicate melodies. It's a Sunday morning record, basically. Well, maybe I'll play it this later because we're Sunday morning. But it's one of these records that are just it's really she's hit the spot for me. It's just really gentle. It's kind of ambient music, but with lyrics and played on piano. If you like, I wonder if anybody in the gallery knows this album or knows Anna Roxanne. But very worth. There you go. Shows you it must be the room that she's composing in or something. But yeah, it's a lovely record. It's just been released a few months ago, I guess. So 2026. It's just a bit of synth, a bit of piano, and a bit of vocals, simply. Okay, that's my 2 cents about Anna Roxanne. Who any Disaster 1 and Poem 1? Yes, correct. There is a theme. Mike, have you got a new album you want to show?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a look. Yeah. Now I did mention this on my channel the other day, but it's a bit of folky stuff.
Yeah, and
Stella Cola.
I read the comment. Headley dropped a very interesting comment.
Yes, he said it looks medieval, and
Exactly,
he was disappointed
and he
that
was
it wasn't.
expecting something in the music as well, but didn't carry over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it looks like sort of, this is going to be sort of some sort of early music, but it's folk, and Stella Cola isn't a person. That's the name of the duo, and it's the singer is called Beverly Ketch, and she's teamed up with a guy called Robert Thomas who plays acoustic guitar, and it's a folky album. I think you'd like it, Ramo. And yeah, there you go. And there's other musicians on there as well. And yeah, it's just out the last few weeks, and yeah, it's a lovely album. I'm always looking for something new, someone I haven't necessarily heard of before. So this is our only album. It's
yeah.
debut,
Okay.
and it's really nice.
Since we're talking about folky-ish things,
Which we never do. Which we never do over here, as you all know.
no, but this is more in the American primitive style. We have this wonderful label called Ramble Records in Melbourne. Ramble, and Ramble Records is no more, no less than the American primitive label from Melbourne. The guy who runs it is a guy called Mike Sill. He has a band called the man from Atlantis, and I've met him several times, and I've seen him live, and he plays American primitive on guitar himself, and he's a super nice guy, and he puts out all these really weird and wacky records, and we're very lucky to have him, because the other day he sold me this amazing little thing. This is not a Melbourne record. I think the guy Johnny Bell is from Texas. Yes, but so this is an American primitive record on banjo. So it's just like solo banjo with a little bit of like arrangements in the background. It's really, really, really wacky record, but very, very beautiful. It's just him playing all sorts of things. He plays banjo, fiddle, cymbals, and then he's got another guy playing guitars and a bit of synth. And so it's kind of a really weird mix between American primitive and kind of modern bluegrass, but it's all instrumental. It's just, like for people who are into their like instrumental spacey bluegrass, then Johnny Bell. And then he put out also this wonderful also on Ramble. This is a record I've had for about 3 days now. I've played it a ton of time. The guy is called Alec Eline, I think his name is. Driftline. He's a Belgian guy who lives in Melbourne, and he makes just basically American primitive. Look at that title for a song, Sati in Nepal. It's and it's just him playing John Fay, basically, in more or less. Like that's the kind of vibe you get there. John Fay, Robbie Basho. That's this very repetitive, cyclical kind of, trance, inducing hypnotic kind of music. And I got this. Whilst I'm here, I've got a couple of other nice folky-ish records that I can show. Well, this here, very, very interesting. Synergy Trilogy. It's two young girls from Melbourne, Bella Martin, and what is the other guy? Isabella Martin and Matilda Cameron. And they've made this. This is super difficult to describe this music. It's kind of like art pop, DIY folk, and ambient just rolled into one package. I hear a lot of like stuff like Julia Holter in there, but not just. I think I think they take the cues from some Nico records as well, and you've got a bit of Nico, a bit of a little bit of sort of dream pop, in the sense of like beach house and that kind of. There's that kind of vibe in there, and it's from this year as well. And this here, Mike, was also released in the. This is the UK release of it on Infinite Expense. If you're ever interested, I think.
All right.
The record was released in the UK and in Melbourne as well. But in Melbourne, it was only released as a 100-copy CD, I think, promotional, and then here's something cool here. I'll show you, something I love. This is a band called the Clear Path Ensemble, and the album's called Ascending. And this is basically one guy. He's called Corey Champion, and he plays all these: vibraphone, xylophone, glockenspiel, marimba, piano, Rhodes, and then there's he's helped by this guy called Daniel Hales, but Corey Champion plays most of the stuff that's on there. It's most of his work, and it's a minimal in the sort of Steve Reich, a minimal like a post minimalist kind of record, but with a very, very big jazz kind of emphasis. So some of the songs are you've got the impression to Steve Reich, and some others they go in a more jazzy direction. So it's quite varied in sound. The guy's from New Zealand, and the record was distributed in Wellington and in Melbourne, and he brought those copies himself into Melbourne and sold them to the shops himself. So it's really these are the kind of records that I just really lose my mind over, because they're new records, they're local records, and they're brilliant, and I just can't stress how much I love the local scene and how much I love and the last one I've got in my hands there. It's this Joshua Moshe record, brand new record. I don't lie. I've spoken about this guy many times. He's a saxophonist from on the scene here. He had a band called the JK Group, and now he operates under the name Josh Moshe. And it's a jazz fusion album with some sort of Israeli kind of klezmer kind of influences, which is it's very cool. There we go.
Excellent stuff.
Just a few things there, and I've got some more, but I just thought whilst I'm on screen, I'll just show you a few things.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, this is Widow's Peak. They're a duo from Brooklyn, and this is their latest one, Roses. So they're very folky. They're a bit a bit country as well, but not overly, if you know what I mean. More folk than country, but they're not afraid to put all sorts of other sort of rhythms into their music, and and they borrow sort of stuff from all over the world, and it they're absolutely wonderful. And I mean, they've been going quite a few years, but I have their last 3 albums, and let's say this one was released a few weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, as for me, this is not a new release. This is a record I just bought two weeks ago with a Sonic Boom, and it's kind of folk with some U.S. American, not country, but American folk, which comes originally from England, and this is the one.
Yeah.
This is the latest album she recorded in 2023. A little bit less dark than the Lodestar, so very, very pastoral. And there is an interesting version of Hair on the Mountain, which she had already recorded 2 times before that.
Yeah.
So obviously her voice changed a lot, and there is also another song which had been recorded live in Sydney with only like a harpsichord in '81. So you still get a taste of what her voice sounded like. And of course, it's an homage to the place where she comes from, like yeah, the Sussex. Yeah, there is a last song
Yeah,
where she in the chorus she say, yeah, Sussex, Sussex. So
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
It's a wonderful album. It's an absolutely wonderful album.
Ju-
I
ju-
think it's the best of
just so-
her sort of her modern albums.
and it's green for those who yeah,
Yeah. Well, Green. As I
yeah,
said, Green always sounds the best.
exactly. Yeah,
just so you know, in the I'm listening. I've turned off the because I have I have to feed the animals because it's that time. So I'm listening to what you're saying, but
Okay.
I'm muted, and I'm still listening to the conversation. Don't think that I've gone away, but
Yeah.
I just have to attend to my duties of pet owner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's interesting. I'm not a completist, but everywhere I can see the name Shirley Collins, I like. I have the feeling I need to buy. There is this album called Morris On, when she always sings one song on that, and it's to me it's
Do you not
worth
have
buying the record. No,
Do you
I
not
don't
have a
have.
copy of Morrison?
No, I don't. I don't.
Wow. It's bargain bin stuff in the UK.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, honestly, it is.
yeah,
Yeah, Morrison, and then there's Morrison again. But Archangel Hill kind of it really strikes a chord with me because I was born and brought up in Sussex,
yeah. I know. Yeah,
and she sings a lot about about the countryside, around particularly East Sussex, very close to where I was born. And I think it's a track, isn't it? The title track is uh, from a poem that was written by her father
yeah,
when
yeah,
he was
yeah,
serving in the RAF during World War Two,
yeah,
and it's like him, sort of longing to be home, really. And
yeah. Which is interesting. You had a sort of introduction. You had the lyrics, and
yeah,
you had some some texts that
yeah,
she wrote
yeah.
to explain a little bit.
Yeah,
So
it's a wonderful record. It's my favourite of her, later
comeback.
albums.
Yeah, she dropped. She came back in 2016 with the Lodestar. Very
Yeah,
very dark. Like very. You had the feeling like something bad happened. This is what they record after what bad happened to me.
yeah,
The album 2020, I had no idea of. You probably knows about. Do you know about
yeah,
this? Yeah, and
yeah,
and and this one from 2023. So, but yeah, it's she plays such an important role in the revival of English folk music. The way she had traveled to the U.S. trying to grasp a little bit the essence in the Appalachian Mountains, going back to England, spending hours the library. The name escapes me. It's so important. The Sister Sharps. Mike, you help me. Yeah. So and yeah, participating in so many projects with all the who's who of the folk. Well, yeah, we talk about folk a lot on this channel, and I have a fun story with oh, Mike's has Morris on. No, it looks like the Morris. Oh yeah,
hey, sorry to budge in. Sorry, my birds are making noise. But it wasn't that Arnold Bax who said that you should try everything once in life except for Morris dancing and incest.
quite
Everything should be
possibly. Yeah,
everything should be tried once in life except for
yeah,
Morris dancing and incest. I love that quote. Arnold Bax. Carry on.
yeah. I think that's probably true, actually. But yeah, I mean, Morrison, it's very much a sort of a project of Ashley Hutchins.
yeah.
Yeah,
Who was in Fairport Convention? Who left Fairport? Who founded
yeah. So
Civilized
you
Town?
got Richard Thompson on here as well.
Yeah, yeah,
John Kirkpatrick, who is an accordion and concertina player who's sort of really well known. Yeah, Dave Mattox is here as well, drummer of Fairbolt.
So it's really the meetup of Island and Topic a little bit.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
are where Topic label is really a really important
yeah,
folk label.
yeah. It's a track called "The Willow Tree" that Shirley Collins is on.
Yeah, absolutely
And
beautiful.
this is the other, the middle of the three later albums, Heart Seas.
Yeah.
Again, it's a very, very good album. Yeah, there we go. It's absolutely brilliant. All of, just about anything by Shirley Collins.
Yeah, I'm so attracted. The Lodestar. I had found a copy, and you remember when the day I had found this copy, we were on Ian's live stream, and I was like walking around with my phone, and oh yeah, there is this album. I just had spotted in the bins, and for some reason I didn't buy it. So I went back home, listened to online, and so I was like, I need to buy this record. And this one is pretty much the same. I have a fun story.
Yeah.
I was holding this copy exactly 1 year ago when David Atkinson came over for the last year's bash, and we were doing some selfies, having fun, and for some reason I had just put it aside, and I'd forgotten to just take it back. So exactly 1 year after.
Yeah,
I said no. This time I have to. It's a really the kind of folk I'm into, and he brought me some of the.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to English folk music, but I think that Shirley Collins is.
There's nothing bad being a nerd on this channel.
No. I'm not saying there is, but you know what it is. You can bore people to death with the sort of detail, can't you?
We already lost.
That's what we're doing now, isn't it? Yeah, but Shirley Collins is just so central to the English folk revival. She is one of the big names there. And she's so very, very very important person in sort of just in music in general, I think. And I as I say, I can't get enough of her stuff, but it's very it's a very strange story, isn't it, that she lost the ability to sing. You're on mute.
When Ashley Hutchins, speaking of him, he was his.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, I should have said on Morrison, she's credited as Shirley Hutchins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she just lost that ability to sing, and then all these years later, she comes out of retirement, and I mean she's in her 80s now, isn't she?
Born in 34. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But I mean Sussex is quite an important sort of county when it comes to the English folk revival, and particularly there's the family, the Copper family.
Yeah.
And there's still sort of generations they're carrying on the tradition, and it was people like Bob and Ron Copper. I think it's Ron. Yeah. Two brothers, and they really sort of kept the tradition alive, and they became a source of music for many of the folk revivalists in the 60s.
Yeah. And David brought me lots of great VCLTs. So now I'm surrounded by records. Fred sent me crazy VCLTs. I bought some of the records in Buffalo when we were last week at MGK's in Toronto, and amongst stuff David gave me were this record I had no idea about. Do you know that, Michael? Mike. Sorry.
I know the high level runters, but I don't know that song or that album at all.
Yeah, that's traditional.
Yeah.
From folk from Newcastle, with lots of fiddle. Reminds me a little bit of song from Marina song, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's it's a never ending story. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time when Topic Records did an awful lot of albums where they concentrated on a theme. So there might be songs about shipbuilding, songs about farming, or whatever.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. On the Topic label, and it's sort of more like a sort of an archive of folk songs, really. On these albums.
Yeah. Topic label. You had mentioned that it's certainly something worth exploring.
Yeah.
And
Topic is pretty good, as a folk label.
Yeah.
And while I was in Buffalo last weekend, I had stumbled upon something I never saw, which was folk at the beginning. Well, psych folk evolved toward more electric, becoming after more glam, and that's the one album. A beard of stars. I would never have imagined finding a record in a place like that. So it's that's the '69 album. That's when they were about to change the name to become T-Rex. And
I think you did well to get hold of a copy of that, quite honestly.
Yeah, and I didn't pay that much. It's an OG. It's a first UK press. I had never heard of this label. Speaking of that,
Regards on the phone. Yeah. It's
very lots and lots of artists recorded on Regal Zonophone in the 1960s. It's quite a big label.
Speaking of the music to sex, it evolves toward more electric, toward psych rock, more electric. It's not glam. You already have these elements, Mark Bolan, his voice, his vibrato, the way he sings, already present, but it's not the T-Rex from Electric Warrior. It's a pleasant album, and there is mention on the Electric Eden that he forced his producer to read this book from the Tolkien because he was much into this universe, like many psych band from the time.
It's really the definition of psychedelic folk. These first T-Rex records. The one after, I think, is even. Was that the My People Were Fair? No, what's the next one?
This very long title. That's the first. The very long title.
Oh, Prophet Seeker. Oh
no. My People Were Fair and War, whatever.
Stars in their hair. Yeah.
I've got this album as a the one that you showed as a truther. We've there's two albums on.
I've got that. Yeah, I've got those copies. Yeah.
My People Were Fair. This is called. My People Were Fair and had sky in their hair. That's what the album is called.
Yeah.
But now they're content to wear stars on their brows. Okay. That's it. But I think there's one before that. There's prophets, seers, sages, and angels of the ages. That's right. And then, but before that, I'm just looking on the page. there's another album in between that and um Unicorn. That's it, Unicorn.
Unicorn.
I have Beard of Stars and Unicorn, and I think from memory, I think Unicorn is slightly. I prefer Unicorn slightly to Beard of Stars, but I can't remember now. I need to listen to them again. Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah.
and a little bit related to psy folk from the time. I also find this one in Buffalo,
Mm.
Yeah.
which are bargain here, but great, really great stuff, so to say. You pay $5 every time. So
That's one of the two records that's in the box set of what's
hurdy
it called?
gurdy with the hurdy gurdy
No,
man.
no.
No, flower of garden, maybe no. There is a you find it pretty much easily over here because they were pressed.
He made this record called "A Gift from a Flower to the Garden,"
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
think that's one of the two albums that's
yeah,
in the box set. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I dreaming? I think it's
you're probably right. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, such an important artist. So hey, we do another, maybe, yeah, 4 minutes, perfect. Now we hit 3 hours and we can maybe stop. So if anyone wants to, I will talk about one record that you sent me, Fred, that I really enjoyed. Really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say to you. Hang on, are you still there, or am I still talking? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just checking. A Gift from a Flower to the Garden is this like double album that you can that is considered to be Donovan's peak, basically in creative peak in terms of like psychedelic folk. And there's two records that are in that box set. There's the record that you've showed, and there's another one. So you can buy them you could buy them separately, or you can buy them individually as a box set, you know. And the other record is called For Little Ones. And For Little Ones, the other record, not the one that you've got, is even more psychedelic, and it's even more. It's really like it goes a bit deeper into that sort of really incredible psych folk that you like. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and they are not cheap at all over here, especially over
Mhm.
here. But yeah, there is this.
And Sean talks about Master and Everyone by Bunny Prince Billy. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah,
American Gothic, I'm less fond of. I used to have that record, but Master and Everyone is just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect record.
I'm still to get some Bonnie Prince Billy into my collection.
yeah,
Oh.
me too.
We talked about him
Me,
at length a few months back.
me too.
You
Yeah.
shall,
The-
you
the-
shall not be disappointed. You shall not be
Yeah.
disappointed, my friend. It's very good.
There is the one collaboration with Tortoise. I'm really on the lookout for, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
I'm gonna have to say if you're looking at Bonnie Prince Billy, that's probably at the bottom of his output, of his recording output. I mean, his first 4 or 5 solo record, and even what he did with Palace Brothers and Palace Music, my God, that is another level altogether. The Tortoise collaboration is kind of an oddball record. I think it's more if you're I mean, I guess it's kind of like a real fan record more than anything else. But I mean,
Okay.
that's my perception of it. But if you're going to get into Prince Billy, obviously get I See a Darkness. I mean, I See a Darkness is perfect in every way. It's just an album that you will get. It's just, it's melancholic. It's depressed, but it's really, it was impressive enough to Johnny Cash that he covered the title track on one of his last albums.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, I think we can. we can wrap up right now.
Yeah.
It's nearly 3 hours. I will hit the button that's when yeah. But
Oh,
no,
and Mike, I heard you said you got a copy of this.
I don't have a copy of it yet. I ordered it online last night.
Right. Well, talking about psych folk,
Yeah.
well, this is a total psychedelic folk record.
Yeah.
Dagmar Zuniga. You look at the you know from the title what music it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was browsing through Honest John's inventory on their website, and I came across that. Listened to a couple of the samples that they put up on the website, and then went and listened to the whole album. And yeah, it's good stuff. Quite strange, but very good. So yeah, because what happened is that I was down in London for a few days last week, and we happened to be in Cold Drops Yard, which is sort of behind King's Cross Station, and it's a big sort of kind of leisure sort of area now by Regent's Park Canal. And Honest John's record they've got a very small record store there. So the main one is in Portobello Road. So I went in there and I thought I'll see if I can get that record, but they didn't have it. They didn't have it actually in the little store there. So I went home, and then yesterday I remembered that I hadn't ordered it online, which I was going to do. So I did. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting.
It's just been released on record this year, but it's a record from 2025. She released it last year, but not physically, just in digital.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the time. Thanks to everyone in the Peanut Gallery. We had some people right from the beginning. They are still there. How about that?
Yeah. It's been fun.
It's been really fun. See you whenever. Maybe after summer.
A lot of people today actually on the a lot of comments.
No, it's really. I didn't say a lot of bullshit because lots of people watch this time. So
yeah. What I like about this is it's truly international. The gallery. There's people from all over.
That's right.
And I really love that.
I really enjoy that as well. Yeah. So thank you, Sean. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. Take care, everyone.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.